some of the new witnesses that have come out. Now, mind you, this is 27 years later, new witnesses during a secretly held grand jury. New witnesses have come out and revealed new information, basically confirming that I was right. It was not Orlando Anderson that shot, but we'll get into that. There has been secret grand juries held. So what is a grand jury? Basically, the grand jury is a jury that decides if someone's going to get prosecuted in something, if there is sufficient evidence to, go after somebody and basically arrest them and, charge them with whatever they want to charge them with. So basically a grand jury, what police can do, or, detectives, law enforcement, whatever you want to call them, they can go to this grand jury, present evidence. So in this case, Keefe, they can keep presenting evidence week after week, month after month, until the grand jury feels like, okay, you have enough evidence to, issue a warrant or an arrest for this person and arrest them, So basically month after month, that's what they've been doing. Basically, Keefe has been going around talking, yapping on every interview, saying whatever he's saying. And, month after month, police have been kind of gathering information and, month after month have presented the grand jury with information. However, during this grand jury, it's not public. This is something that's held privately. Even the recent Art of Dialogue did an interview with the guy that was there when 2Pac got shot, the paramedic guy that was there. He said that there was a grand jury behind the scenes, but I couldn't say anything about it because it was private. There's grand juries being held, and there were actually, witnesses. One of them is a Southside Crips gang member. What's wild about these privately held grand juries is that new witnesses have been coming to these and have been speaking after all these years. So all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk, after all this time has gone by. I wish it would have happened earlier, but now, witnesses are coming out. Gang members, Southside Crip gang members are talking. And it's wild because, who would have thought after all this time, finally witnesses are speaking? Because at the moment when this happened, nobody was really talking. But this Southside Crip gang member that talked put the blame of who pulled the trigger not on Orlando Anderson, but on Big Dre, who was right next to him in the backseat. So Keefe, when he confessed in 2009, which I broke that down already, when he confessed in 2009, he said that he gave the gun to the back seat. He initially gave it to Big Dre, who was on the left driver's side. So when the car pulled up, this is 2Pac's car, and they pulled up this way. So the driver and the driver passenger are closer to the car. So Keefe said that he turned around, gave the gun to Big Dre, but Big Dre got cold hands, cold feet, whatever you want to call it, basically didn't want to do it, and handed the gun off to Orlando Anderson, and Orlando Anderson, shot. But here's why it never made sense that was the case, because Orlando Anderson shooting across from somebody. So imagine you're sitting in the driver's seat like this, and somebody's hand is going right here and popping off shells right in front of your face. Doesn't make any sense because you have little bullets flying, like flares, gunshots like going in front of your face. And Big Dre there's a reason why they call him Big Dre. The guy was big. Let's be honest here. He was damn near 300 pounds, and he actually died of health issues in late 2003, early 2004. So that never made sense. There's a reason. I think the reason why Keefe pinned it on Orlando Anderson was because Orlando Anderson was the one that died the fastest. He died 2 years after the shooting. So dying 2 years after the shooting, actually about, give it a year and a half, almost 2 years. Dying basically 2 years after the shooting, it's easier to pin on somebody dead versus Big Dre, who died years and years later in 2004, late 2003, somewhere around there. All of them, if they were alive today, the driver, Keefe and the passenger, Big Dre in the back, and Orlando Anderson, if they were all alive today, Nevada law, which is Las Vegas is Nevada state law is that everybody gets charged with murder, regardless of who pulled the trigger. So it doesn't matter. And I see a lot of media outlets kind of reporting that, Keefe was the one to get arrested. I get that point, and people are getting confused, thinking that it's Keefe that pulled the trigger because he's getting arrested for the murder. But it doesn't matter. When police held the press conference, they said, and they gave this example, they said, so let's just say I'm going to rob a bank, right? I'm the getaway driver, and my friend is going to rob the bank. He's going in there with the gun, holding it to people's faces, taking the money. The police said in this press conference that it doesn't matter if I entered the bank, had a gun, nothing. I am helping this guy rob a bank, so I am going to be charged with robbing a bank just like the guy who robbed the bank because I'm the one that's driving. I'm still helping the person. So that is Nevada law. So it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. If all of them are alive to this day and all this information got revealed and they all got locked up, they will all be tried with murder, which is damn near a life sentence. And Keefe D's 60 years old, so it doesn't matter. Even if he got 20 years, I doubt he's going to live till 80. Most people don't live till maybe 70, 80 at best. So he already has a life sentence. At that age, going to prison is probably one of the worst things ever. Regardless, let's go over some of the documents obtained by 8 News Now in Las Vegas. These are documents they obtained, and they revealed some interesting information that in about a week from now, we're going to get new information, new photos, new witnesses, new stuff out of all these years that the police have been holding on to. That's going to be revealed. I think this is going to be, if Keefe D says not guilty, I'm not guilty. He pleads not guilty. It's going to go to trial. And if it goes to trial and they don't give Keefe D a deal, which is possible, Keefe D could get a deal in this situation and be like, yo, tell us if Diddy has more involvement. If you know more things about Diddy, tell us about that. Because what would be bigger news? Keefe D getting arrested for 2Pac's murder or Diddy getting arrested? Diddy's a billionaire. So it would do, obviously, the police would have even more, because we're forgetting all about Biggie dying. Maybe Puffy has ties to that, too, of what happened there. So Puffy, Diddy, if you don't know, Diddy used to be called Puff Daddy. So for those people that don't know, I'm just breaking that down. But, yeah, there's so many ways that this could go. It's wild. And this if Keefe D decides to plead not guilty and it goes to trial, right, and they don't give him a deal, and it goes to trial, and it gets broadcasted on TV, I'm here to say that this will be the biggest trial period, bigger than O.J. Simpson. And that O.J. Simpson shit was all over the TV, had the whole world divided. This will be bigger than O.J. Simpson because when was the last time a superstar of this magnitude was murdered to this extent and people didn't know what happened in the situation or didn't, all these speculations? Because of all those conspiracy theories, speculations, all the people that got murdered, killed, passed on, whatever. When was the last time a superstar of this magnitude? John Lennon with the Beatles? That was like all the way in the 70s. So it's going to be huge, but let me go over the because I'm just over here rambling, but let me go over some of the documents that were revealed, which is wild. They're getting Keefe D with orchestrating crimes as well. They're putting Keefe D as the one that planned all this. They're putting him as the kingpin of all this, that he was the one that did all this. He orchestrated it, which obviously is going to give him a lot more time. But at that point, if he gets charged with murder and actually convicted, he's going away for life pretty much. So let me go over some of those documents. So they basically asked one of the witnesses that what was Keefe's role in this. Keefe is the one who's going to make all the arrangements and all the plans until that gun goes into somebody else's hand. So originally it was Keefe's idea to not only go and try to find 2Pac and them, orchestrate this, but it was originally his idea and plan to shoot at 2Pac and them because he had the gun in his hand originally. But like I'm explaining to you guys, and this is why it doesn't make sense that it was Orlando Anderson, made no sense at all. Keefe and Orlando are on the passenger side, which means they're further away than 2Pac was. Because 2Pac came up with this side of the car, they came up with this side. So when you're on this side, it's harder for you to shoot across because you might even shoot your friend that's right next to you. It's better for the people that are on the actual side where 2Pac is at, which was Big Dre and the driver. Obviously, the driver is going to shoot because he needs to get away. Big Dre in the backseat was the perfect one, and Big Dre was the one that was quoted as being more of a gangster, more of willing to do things that were more, violent of this nature. So this witness or this person that was involved in this situation says that originally Keefe D wanted to shoot, but just couldn't because it didn't have the right angle, even Keefe D said that in his own book. He said it was shooting across was too much of a danger. He said that in his own book. And The Art of Dialogue, when they interviewed Keefe D, it said there were reports of Big Andre being the shooter, or Big Dre being the shooter. Keefe D kind of got upset, man. He's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna speak on that, man." He's like, "He got actually, you could see he was visibly angry at the fact that people were trying to switch this narrative that it wasn't Orlando Anderson, that it was Big Dre, because that would make that." Here's why Keefe D would get mad at that, and here's why switching the person would affect Keefe D, because when he did that proffer agreement back in 2009, he testified and said, "Everything that I'm telling is the truth." And the police said, if we find out it's not the truth, we can get you locked up immediately. So at the time, he said it was Orlando Anderson. But as evidence and witnesses starting to come out, it switched to Big Dre. So he told them a lie in 2009, which can get him locked up. So this whole thing, oh man, Keefe D just fucked up a big, big way. So that's what I mean. He doesn't want to be seen as a liar because the police can get him locked up for that. So he's always denied it and said it's Orlando Anderson. But I'm telling you guys, it's going to be Big Dre. I'm telling you, if this goes to trial, Big Dre is going to be the one that's going to be the trigger. It doesn't matter, though, at the end of the day, because they're all deceased besides Keefe D, and they're all getting charged with murder regardless, even if they were alive. So I want to let you guys know that doesn't matter who's the one that shot it off. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the person that let off the gun is but at the end of the day, they all came up there to do something. They all wanted to, do something to Tupac and Suge. Regardless, continuing on this eyewitness, eyewitness that went to go speak out, this Southside Crip gang member, which is wild. So this is what a Southside Crip gang member testified. When he passed the firearm to Orlando didn't have a clear shot. Big Dre is 6'6". At this time, he's 370, 400 pounds. He's big. You're not going to be able to lean over a big guy like that and, get shots off. He said you're not going to reach over like that because shells would have been popping all in Big Dre's face and all kinds of stuff. He can't bend down or anything. He's too big. And that makes total fucking sense. And to anybody, if you've never held a gun or shot a gun, you can't speak in this fucking situation. And just use common sense. Who the fuck would just stand there in the back seat like this, leaning back, when fucking shells are flying in their face, especially at that big ass guy that he is? So yeah, this is wild. This is wild that this testimony is coming out finally after all these years. And then they asked him, Big Dre told you he did the shooting because he was friends with Big Dre. He answered, he did the shooting. This is a close Southside Crip gang member that knew Dre, that talked to him about the shooting. He asked him, did you do the shooting? He said, yes, I did the shooting. Come on, man. Come on. So anyways, it's wild that this information's come out. It is very, very wild this information's come out. Because after all these years, finally, there's going to be information cleared up. There's going to be no more guessing. And, hopefully Keefe D, goes to trial because we're going to get so much new information. This 8 News now, news station said they got more information coming next week that's going to reveal newer things. And then when it goes to trial, we're going to get even more new information. So I do think if it gets broadcasted on TV, it's going to be the biggest trial ever because we're talking about something 27 years later. We're talking about one of the biggest artist period ever that's ever existed. Tupac is known globally. Everybody fucking knows Tupac. I go to anywhere in America, anywhere globally. I've been in Germany. They all know Tupac. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye on this. I'll keep you guys updated as usual. But there you go. An eyewitness Southside Crip gang member.